Hello and welcome back to the deep dive.
Hey, great to be here.
So today I want to start with a question that feels really simple on the surface, but the more you pull at the thread, the more complex it gets.
Okay.
What actually makes a workspace effective?
That is a big question.
Right, because when you sit down to work, whether that's in a massive corporate headquarters or a satellite office or even a service department on the other side of the world, is it just, the desk and the ergonomic chair?
In the high-end coffee machine.
Exactly, the coffee machine. Or is it something else? Is it the invisible machinery running behind the scenes that you really only ever notice when it stops working?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question to start with. And honestly, I think most of us, well, myself included, we take that invisible machinery completely for granted.
Oh, totally.
We walk into a workspace, the lights turn on, the internet connects instantly, the air quality is good, the temperature is set to a comfortable 21 degrees, and we just work. We don't even think about it.
No, you just expect it to be there.
Right. But the moment one of those things fails, like the internet drops during a critical pitch, or the AC dies in the middle of July,
Oh, that's the worst.
productivity doesn't just dip, it absolutely crashes.
It does. And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We are looking under the hood of the serviced office industry today.
Yes.
We aren't just talking about commercial real estate here. We are talking about business continuity. We're talking about service delivery.
Which is so critical right now.
And we're doing it by looking at a very specific piece of news. It might seem small on the surface. It's a hiring announcement at a UK company called Arena Offices, but it actually reveals the entire DNA of this sector.
It really does. And to give us some necessary context before we even get to the specific news, we have to think about the broader landscape of space as a service.
Right.
Because this isn't a new concept. If you look at a platform like MoveAndStay.com, you really see the history here.
Oh, absolutely. That is actually the perfect connection to make right off the bat to set the stage. Move and Stay has been doing this for over 25 years.
A long time.
Yeah, they've been connecting business travelers with these exact kinds of extended stay solutions. We're talking service departments, hotels, serviced offices.
Specifically across the Asia-Pacific region, right?
Yes, across Asia Pacific. And it's ideal for stays that are longer than just a few days. So professionals, entrepreneurs, corporate teams, they all trust Move and Stay because it makes it so easy to find a comfortable place to live and work abroad.
And the reason Move and Stay has been around for a quarter of a century is that they understand that core need of the professional traveler or the distributed team.
Exactly.
I mean, think about it. If you are a corporate team moving to Singapore or Tokyo for a 3-month project, or you're an entrepreneur setting up a satellite office in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
you cannot afford to worry about building maintenance. You're there to work, not to fix the plumbing.
No, you definitely can't. You need to know that the facility is managed perfectly before you even land. You need to completely trust the provider.
Right.
And that trust is built entirely on the people running the show behind the scenes. Which brings us to our source material for today.
The Arena Offices announcement.
Yes, we are looking at this recent announcement from the UK, specifically regarding Arena Offices.
Right, so Arena Offices has just appointed a new Director of Estates and Facilities, a gentleman named Duncan Boxall.
Now, I know what you're thinking, listener. A hiring announcement. Really. We're doing an entire deep dive on a guy getting a job.
It sounds a bit dry at first.
It does, but stick with us here because I am actually really excited about this. I think how a company hires for a role like this, specifically Director of Estates and Facilities, it tells us everything about how modern offices actually work.
I agree completely.
It's a peek behind the curtain of that invisible machinery we were just talking about.
It is. It's not just about filling a vacancy on a corporate roster. It is a highly strategic move. When we analyze the specifics of this appointment, who they hired, what his mandate is, what his background is, we start to see the strategy connecting facility management directly to business growth. It shifts the entire conversation from fixing toilets to enabling success.
Okay, let's unpack this. We need to set the scene. Who are the players here? Who exactly is Arena Offices?
So Arena Offices is a significant player in the serviced office market over in the UK. They're headquartered in Southampton.
Okay.
But their footprint is much wider than just that city. They manage 12 centers across the south of England.
12 centers. That is a pretty decent-sized network.
It is.
The source mentions specific locations too, like Surrey, Hampshire, Berkshire, and Dorset. So this isn't just one giant building where the manager can walk around and check everything personally every single morning. This is a widely distributed network.
Precisely. And that scale is incredibly important when we look at the new appointee, Duncan Boxall, because the source highlights a key statistic right at the top of the announcement. He brings over 15 years of industry experience to the role.
15 years, that's a lot of time in the trenches.
It is.
But let me play devil's advocate here for a second. Why does the number of years matter so much in facilities? I mean, isn't facility management mostly just following a really good checklist? Change the air filters, check the fire alarms, make sure the floors are clean. Why do you need a decade and a half of experience to manage buildings?
That's a fair challenge. And honestly, if you were managing just one building, maybe you could get away with less experience or just rely on a really rigorous checklist.
Right.
But managing a distributed network of 12 centers across all those different counties, that requires deep logistical experience. It is systemic management.
Systemic.
You aren't just dealing with a leaky tap in one bathroom. You're dealing with 12 different aging infrastructures, 12 different sets of local council compliance regulations, and 12 different on-site teams.
So it's really about standardization across the board.
Exactly. If you walk into an arena office in Surrey, the experience needs to be totally consistent with the one in Dorset. That doesn't happen by accident.
Right. It takes work.
That happens through rigorous facility management protocols.
Yeah.
That is what 15 years of experience buys you. It buys you the ability to anticipate problems before they happen across a multi-site portfolio.
So being proactive rather than reactive.
Yes. It moves you from reactive maintenance, fixing things when they break, to predictive maintenance, where you're fixing things before the client even realizes they're degrading.
That makes total sense. It's the difference between hiring a handyman and hiring an operations director. Which brings us to his title. The source lists his specific title as Director of Estates and Facilities. Okay, let's unpack this title. Estates and Facilities. It sounds a bit formal, maybe even a bit old-school British.
It does sound a bit grand.
But in the context of a modern serviced office, what does that actually encompass?
Well, it covers everything physical and environmental. It's maintenance, yes, but it's also safety, statutory compliance.
Like what?
Making sure the fire alarms are tested, the water systems are free of Legionella, the elevators are certified, plus security and the physical environment itself.
Okay.
But here's the key shift. In a traditional lease, facility is often seen as a cost center.
Right, just a line item on a budget.
Exactly. Something the landlord just has to pay for to keep the rain out. But in the serviced office model, and this applies to the service departments and hotels, Move and Stay offers in Asia Pacific too.
Right.
Facilities is the product.
Oh, that is a great distinction. The facility is the product.
Right. Because if the facility fails, the product is broken. So Boxall's role isn't just maintenance man. He is effectively the director of product quality for their physical assets. When a client pays their monthly fee, they are paying for that facility to work flawlessly.
Which leads us perfectly into the second section of our deep dive here, the core mandate. What exactly has he been hired to do?
The source is very specific here. His primary responsibilities are overseeing management and maintenance, sure. But then it uses a very specific phrase regarding his objective. It says he's tasked with ensuring service continuity.
Service continuity. I actually really love that term. It sounds like something from a disaster movie, like keeping the government running during global crisis.
It does.
But in this context, it's actually just day-to-day business operations.
It is the holy grail of corporate operations.
So let's break that down. What does service continuity actually mean for you, the listener? Let's use an analogy. Let's say you're an entrepreneur. You're a user of moveandstay.com, and you've booked a service department for a month in Hong Kong because you have critical meetings with investors.
High stakes.
Very high stakes. What is service continuity to you in that scenario?
Service continuity means the internet doesn't fail during your Zoom call with headquarters. It means the AC works when it's 35 degrees and humid outside.
Oh, man, crucial.
It means the elevator's running when you need to get to your floor for a meeting. It means the backup generators kick in immediately if the power grid goes down. It is that invisible layer of reliability that allows you to function normally.
And what strikes me about that is that we usually only notice continuity when it breaks.
Exactly.
We don't actively praise the internet for working, right? We just curse it when it stocks.
Precisely. If Boxall does his job perfectly, nobody notices him. He is successful if he is entirely invisible. And what's fascinating here is the link the source makes between that technical continuity and the actual human outcome.
How so?
Well, it explicitly states Boxall is responsible for high client satisfaction across all 12 centers.
So the source is drawing a straight line between the boiler room and the client smiling at their desk.
Yeah.
You can't have high client satisfaction without high-quality maintenance.
You simply cannot. You can have the friendliest receptionist in the world. You can have free beer on Fridays and amazing networking events. But if the heating is broken in the middle of winter, client satisfaction hits zero immediately.
Instantly.
The hierarchy of needs in an office starts with, does the building work?
That's so true. I think we often separate customer service from operations in our minds. We think customer service is just smiling and saying hello, but in this industry, customer service is working plumbing.
Essentially, yes. In the serviced office world and the extended stay world that Move and Stay operates in, the product is reliability. The source mentions Boxall's role is to ensure seamless service delivery. Seamless is the absolute key word there.
Right. No visible seams.
The client shouldn't see the effort. They shouldn't see the maintenance ticket or the technician sweating over the HVAC unit on the roof. They should just see a workspace that works.
It's like a duck paddling underwater. Calm and serene on the surface, but there's frantic activity going on underneath. And Duncan Boxall is the guy managing the paddling, so the duck, which is the client, can just glide.
That is a very apt analogy. And this brings us to the strategic side of things, because it's not just about maintaining the status quo anymore. The source material gives us some really interesting insight into the vision of the company.
Yeah, let's get into that.
It's not just about preventing disaster. It's about actively creating value.
Yes, let's look at the quotes we have. We have a quote from Simon West, who is the Group Chief Executive of Arena Offices. He says that Boxall's knowledge fits their vision of making the workplace an enjoyable and productive environment.
Note the specific language he uses there. He didn't say safe environment.
Right.
He didn't say clean environment. Those are just the baseline expectations now. He said productive.
Productive, that's really interesting because enjoyable, you put in nice furniture, good coffee, maybe some nice art on the walls.
Sure.
But productive, that implies a direct cause and effect relationship. It implies the environment actually causes the productivity.
Exactly. If the environment is managed correctly, the businesses inside it inherently become more productive.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I have to ask, is that just corporate marketing speak? How does a facilities director actually influence my productivity?
It's a fair question.
I mean, I'm the one doing the work, not the building manager. If I'm sitting there writing a report, how does the guy managing the estate help me write it faster?
Well, you have to think about friction. A poor environment is full of micro frictions.
Okay.
Imagine a flickering light that gives you a mild headache by 2 p.m. A chair that squeaks every single time you shift your weight. A room that is just 2 degrees too cold, so you're subconsciously hunched over and tense all day.
Yeah.
Or a printer that is constantly jammed right when you need it for a meeting.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Those are all distractions.
They're cognitive loads. Every time your brain has to process a distraction, like thinking, oh, it's cold, or what's that weird noise, it takes away processing power from your actual work.
Right.
By eliminating those friction points, a facilities director creates a flow state for the entire building. They're actively removing the barriers to focus.
So the source mentions that Boxall aims to develop solutions that support business growth. That feels like a big leap, doesn't it? Jumping from fixing the boiler to actually supporting business growth?
It sounds like a leap.
But based on what you're saying, it's really about aggregate efficiency.
It feels like a leap, but it's actually a direct line. And this is exactly where the industry is heading. In the past, facilities management was just about protecting the asset, protecting the physical building. Now, it's about enabling the user.
And the idea that a facilities manager is actually a partner in the client's business growth is wild.
It completely changes the dynamic.
If I'm a tenant and the space works better, my team is happier. If my team is happier, they work better. If they work better, my business grows. So by hiring Duncan Boxall, Arena Offices is basically saying to their clients, we are investing in your business growth.
Absolutely. It elevates the role entirely from maintenance to enablement. And looking at Boxall's own goal, mentioned in the source, he explicitly says he wants to help businesses flourish.
Flourish.
That is a very active verb.
Flourish.
He sees his job as providing the nutrient-rich soil in which these companies can grow.
I really love that. It's not just about the bricks and mortar anymore. It's about the ecosystem inside the building. It's about creating a space where success is simply the path of least resistance.
And that ecosystem relies heavily on the human element, which is the next part of this story we need to look at. Because we've talked a lot about systems and machines and processes, but Boxall isn't doing this all alone.
No, of course not.
He can't personally fix every light bulb in 12 different centers across the south of England.
Right, which brings us to the human element. Because even though his title is Estates and Facilities, he's really leading people. Boxall talks about his first day on the job in the press release.
Yeah, what did he say?
He says he was struck by the dedication and professionalism of the Arena team.
No. That's a standard nice thing to say in a press release, of course. Everybody says that. But in this specific context, it really matters. Why? Because the source notes he will be working closely with on-site teams.
And who exactly are these on-site teams?
They are the absolute front line. They're the center managers, the reception staff, the local maintenance crew. They are the ones actually interacting with the tenants face-to-face every single day.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture and think about that move-and-stay audience again.
Right.
When you book a service department, say in Bangkok, for a 3-month stay, you have all that back-end management, sure, but your daily experience is defined entirely by the person at the front desk or the person who comes to fix your sink.
Exactly. Boxall isn't working in a vacuum at headquarters. He is orchestrating a vast team. If we go back to that idea of service continuity we talked about, Boxall is the conductor, but the on-site team is the orchestra.
That's a great way to put it.
He has to ensure that the dedication he saw on day one is translated into systemic efficiency across all locations. He has to empower those local teams to resolve issues promptly.
And the source specifically mentions prompt resolution of any issues. That's critical in this space.
It is, because speed is value. In a serviced environment, a problem solved in 10 minutes is just a minor annoyance. You forget about it.
Right.
But a problem solved in 10 days. That is a breach of contract in the mind of the client.
Totally. Boxall also mentions in his quote that Arena has built a fantastic reputation for quality and service. Reputation seems to be a really big word here.
Reputation is the primary currency of the extended stay and serviced office market. Think about it from the client's perspective. When you are signing a lease for an office or booking a long corporate stay through Move and Stay for your executive team, you are making a significant financial commitment. You are trusting a third party with your employees' well-being and their productivity.
Because you can't usually test drive an office for a year before you sign the big contract. You really just have to trust the reputation of the provider.
Exactly. And that reputation is incredibly fragile. It takes years to build, like 25 years in Move and Stay's case, or however long Arena has been operating. But it can be damaged very, very quickly by poor facilities management.
Oh yeah, one bad experience.
If the HVAC goes down in the middle of a heat wave and isn't fixed for a week, that reputation takes a massive hit. Word gets around, bad reviews get written, people talk.
So hiring a seasoned pro like Boxall, someone with 15 years of experience, is basically an insurance policy for that reputation.
It is pure risk management. It's ensuring that the fantastic reputation Boxall mentioned remains fantastic. It is protecting the brand's equity by ensuring the physical product never fails the client.
There's another layer here I want to touch on from the source. It mentions he's bringing fresh perspectives alongside his experience.
Yes.
How do you balance standardization, which we already said is crucial for 12 centers, with fresh perspectives? Aren't those two things kind of opposites?
That's a really keen observation. But they actually work together beautifully. Standardization provides the baseline reliability you need, but fresh perspectives usually refers to innovation in how that reliability is delivered.
What do you mean, like new tool?
Exactly. Maybe it's adopting new sensor technology to monitor air quality and temperature in real time. Maybe it's using a new app ecosystem to allow tenants to report issues faster from their phones.
Okay, I see.
The industry isn't static. A 15-year veteran knows what works from the past, but they also know what's changing right now. He needs to modernize the systems while keeping those core standards extremely high.
That makes total sense. It's innovation built on top of a really solid foundation.
Correct. It's about leveraging new technology to make that invisible machinery even more efficient and even more invisible.
So taking a step back, what does this all mean for us? We've looked at the organization, we looked at the mandate, and the overall strategy. We started this deep dive with a really simple news item, a guy got a job.
Right.
But we've uncovered a whole lot more underneath that.
We really have. We've seen that in the modern workspace economy, Facilities is simply not a back office function anymore. It is a frontline strategic advantage.
And we've seen that whether it's arena offices down in the south of England or a service apartment in Asia Pacific booked via move-in stay, the value proposition is actually identical.
It really is. It's the promise of a professional, fully managed environment. It's the promise that you can focus entirely on your work or your life and not waste a second on building maintenance. It's the outsourcing of logistical anxiety.
The outsourcing of logistical anxiety. I really, really like that phrase. That is exactly what you're paying for. You're paying for someone else to worry about the roof leaking so you don't have to.
Precisely. And as the world of work becomes more flexible, and as business travel becomes more demanding, the role of people like Duncan Boxall is only going to become more critical. The bar is constantly being raised.
That is.
We now expect our offices and our temporary homes to work as seamlessly as our smartphones do.
It really changes how you look at a building manager, doesn't it?
It does. And honestly, this raises a really important question for the future of the industry.
Oh, go on.
Well, we talked about the shift from safety to productivity. We talked about creating enhanced spaces.
Yeah.
As we see roles like Duncan Boxall's evolve to focus on creating these enjoyable and productive environments, are we moving toward a future where the facilities director title just disappears entirely?
What would it become instead?
Well, if the ultimate goal is helping businesses flourish, are we moving toward a future where the facilities director is actually the chief productivity officer for every single tenant in the building?
Wow.
Are they no longer just managing the physical estate, but actually managing the potential of the people inside it?
That is a fascinating thought. The building manager as the chief productivity officer, it puts a whole new spin on the importance of our built environments. It suggests the building is an active participant in your success, not just a passive container for it.
It certainly does, and I think it's something to really look out for as this industry continues to mature and evolve.
Well, listener, that is something for you to mull over the next time you walk into your office or the next time you check into a service department abroad. Is the building working for you, or is it just housing you?
Indeed. It's a great question to ask.
I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. It has been an absolute pleasure unpacking the invisible machinery of the workspace with you.
Always a pleasure.
And we really hope this gave you a brand new perspective on the places where we work and live. So until next time, keep diving deep.